The studio buzzed with electricity long before the cameras started rolling. Outside the glass walls of Wolf Network's Manhattan headquarters, a small crowd of protesters had gathered, half waving Defend Democracy signs, half holding We Stand with Karoline banners. Inside, the staff were tense. Something about tonight felt different. This wasn't just another episode, it was an ambush, and everyone knew it. Karoline Leavitt sat quietly in the green room, her back straight, hands folded on her lap. Her assistant Maya stood nearby, scrolling nervously through social media. "They're already tweeting," Maya said. "Some of them are saying Jeremy's going to end your career tonight." Karoline smiled faintly. "They say that every time." "No, this one's personal," Maya added. "They dug up your college roommate, even your old Catholic school teacher. They're going deep." Karoline looked into the mirror. "Let them. I've got nothing to hide." A knock on the door. "Miss Leavitt, we're ready for you." As Karoline stepped into the corridor, producers and interns scattered like flies. She walked past sets, wires, cameras, into the lion's den. The lights of Real Talk with Jeremy Wolf were harsh, white hot. Jeremy stood center stage, grinning like a man who thought he'd already won. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said as applause faded, "tonight's guest is the woman making headlines for being young, loud, extremely online, and according to her fans, the future of conservatism. Please welcome Karoline Leavitt." The audience gave a half-hearted clap. A few boos slipped through. Karoline walked out, smiling with grace. She shook Jeremy's hand. "Thanks for having me, Jeremy." "I should thank you," he said, smirking. "Rare to get someone from Trump's shadow to step into the light." She sat. He sat. The battle began. "So, Karoline," Jeremy said casually, flipping a note card, "you're 26 years old. You've worked for Trump. You want to ban TikTok. You talk about God like he's your campaign manager. And you've never, not once, admitted that the 2020 election wasn't stolen. Did I miss anything?" Karoline chuckled. "You missed my favorite color, but you're close." The audience laughed nervously. Jeremy's grin tightened. "Let's start easy. Do you really believe Donald Trump is a moral leader?" "I believe he fights for the people who are ignored. That matters more to me than perfection." Jeremy leaned in. "You mean he's morally bankrupt but politically useful?" Karoline's eyes flashed. "I mean he stands up for the forgotten middle class while you sit here with a $10 million studio lecturing people who can't afford groceries." Some light applause from the back rows. Jeremy shrugged. "All right, let's get more personal, shall we?" Karoline raised a brow. "Sure. Why not? You grew up Catholic, right? Attended St. Mary's in New Hampshire. Your senior thesis in college, I read it, was titled Faith, Family, and the Future of American Conservatism." "You did your homework," she replied. Jeremy's tone shifted, colder now. "So what I want to know is, how can someone with such a strict religious background support a man who's been accused of adultery, fraud, even sexual assault? What happened to your values?" The audience gasped slightly. Karoline blinked once, but her expression didn't waver. "My values haven't changed," she said, "but I also believe in redemption. I don't measure people by what the media accuses them of. I look at what they do for the country." Jeremy didn't let up. "You don't think it's hypocritical to preach about morality and then defend someone who brags about grabbing women?" Karoline looked at him, long and hard. "Do you know what's more hypocritical?" she said. "Pretending to care about women's rights while mocking conservative women every chance you get. I've watched your show, Jeremy. You call women like me handmaidens and Stepford bots. You don't want equality. You want obedience." The room stiffened. Jeremy glanced toward the producers. A bead of sweat formed at his temple. "I think we touched a nerve," he said. "No," Karoline replied. "You tried to shame me, but I don't get embarrassed by my beliefs." He quickly moved on. "All right, let's talk about policy. You've called for stronger border enforcement. Some say your rhetoric fuels hate. Any regrets?" "No," she said firmly. "Securing the border isn't racist. It's basic national security." "But you've tweeted about illegals bringing chaos. That's inflammatory." "What's inflammatory is fentanyl killing 100,000 Americans and no one in this city blinking an eye." The audience murmured. Jeremy reached for a final blow. "You once said, quote, America is a nation blessed by God. But where was God during COVID? during Buffalo, Uvalde, Charleston. Karoline took a deep breath. God didn't abandon us. We abandoned him. We removed him from schools, from families, from our values. And now we ask why everything feels broken. A long silence followed. Even Jeremy didn't interrupt. Karoline continued, her voice rising, not in anger but in conviction. I won't apologize for my faith. I won't apologize for loving my country. And I won't apologize for supporting a president who, despite every attack, put this nation before himself. At that moment, a commotion broke out in the back. Someone from the audience shouted, "Let her speak!" Others clapped. Louder now. A wave of energy moved through the crowd. Jeremy tried to regain control. Let's go to break. But it was too late. The damage was done. Clips hit Twitter within minutes. Karoline Leavitt schools Jeremy Wolf on live TV. Faith, fire, facts. This woman just changed the game. Karoline Speaks began trending worldwide. By the next morning, Wolf Network's inbox was flooded. Not with praise, but with questions. Why did Jeremy attack her personally? Why go after her faith? Why is she the only one who made sense? Karoline didn't celebrate. She didn't post a victory video. Instead, she tweeted one sentence: "Speak truth, stand tall, and never flinch." And that was enough, because she hadn't just survived the ambush. She made the hunter look like the hunted. The sun rose over Manhattan, but the headquarters of Wolf Network felt darker than ever. Inside Jeremy Wolf's office, the blinds were drawn, the TV was off, and his phone was on silent, though it didn't stop the vibration. Hundreds of missed calls, dozens of sponsors demanding statements. Trending hashtags he never imagined associated with his name. Firewolf, now Karoline, was right, #liberal meltdown. Live, his assistant, poked her head in. Jeremy, the board wants a meeting. Today, noon. He didn't answer. He was still watching the clip. Again, that moment where Karoline said, "You don't want equality, you want obedience." He replayed it, rewound, played it again, and every time her words hit harder. Not because she humiliated him, but because she told the truth. And the audience knew it. Meanwhile, Karoline's world had turned upside down. Her phone wouldn't stop ringing, not with hate, but with admiration. Fox News wanted her in prime time. Daily Wire offered a contributor contract. CPAC called her the most courageous voice of the new generation. Even liberal outlets, stunned by her composure, admitted she handled herself better than most sitting senators would have. At home in New Hampshire, her parents watched the clip over breakfast. Her dad, a retired Navy officer, wiped his eyes silently. Her mom whispered, "She didn't back down. Not once." Her inbox filled with letters. From a student at Berkeley, "I was scared to speak out, but watching you gave me courage." From a pastor in Kentucky, "You reminded us what faith under fire looks like." From a single mom in Chicago, "They've silenced us for years. Thank you for speaking for us." Jeremy, on the other hand, faced a reckoning. By Thursday, advertisers like Ridge Wallet, HelloFresh, and even Starbucks had pulled their ads from Real Talk. The network's PR team released a vague statement. "We stand by journalistic freedom, but also recognize the importance of respectful discourse." Translation: Wolf had gone too far, and they knew it. By Friday, he was placed on an indefinite hiatus. The network replaced the Friday night slot with a rerun of a cooking show. Then came the final blow. On Saturday evening, Karoline posted a video. Just her, a fireplace, and a simple message. "We're done being afraid. We're done apologizing for our values. And we're done letting bullies with cameras define what it means to be American." The video hit 12 million views in 2 days. Even Elon Musk replied to it on X with a fire emoji and, "This is what courage looks like." Tucker Carlson reposted it with one word: legendary. And Jordan Peterson wrote, "She stood in the fire and didn't burn. She forged." 1 week later, Jeremy finally broke his silence. In a surprising twist, he posted a written statement on Instagram. It was long, uncharacteristically humble. "I thought I was clever. I thought I could corner someone I disagreed with and make her look small. Instead, I exposed my own arrogance. To Karoline Leavitt, you earned the nation's respect. I didn't. I'll take time away and I'll listen, not to the echo chamber, but to voices like yours. You spoke with truth and grace, and I wasn't ready for that." It got 400,000 likes, but the damage was done.